There. Welcome back to another Tech Talk. This is your host Josh from KeepItTechie, and you guys know I do these videos every now and then to try to highlight other people that are working in the IT field. And today I have another special guest. And sorry about it, guys. I've been out of the game for about 2 weeks. I went and got that COVID vaccine, and so it kind of took me out. I'm trying to, you know, pick back up on this stuff, man, and I'm getting new people in. But like I said, I have a special guest in the building, Phil. He's been working in the IT field for a long time, and I just want to, bring him in so we can get his perspective on working in the IT field and how you can actually get into it yourself. So, how you doing, Phil? What's going on?
I'm I am excellent. How are you doing, Josh? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no
Appreciate it.
problem. No problem. No
Yeah.
problem, man. I'm good. I'm good hanging in there, man. And let me give a couple shout outs right fast. I seen a few people in the building already. Oh man, super chat already. I appreciate it. Mitchell. Shout out to you. He says currently on the road, so I can't chat, but I'll be listening while driving. Don't forget to thumbs up everyone. Yeah, I appreciate it, Mitchell. So everybody, if you can, just go on and like the video if you can. I definitely, want to get this message out to as many people as I can. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the best at providing content, but I do, the best I can because I'm not that much of a entertainment type of person. I just like to strictly get straight to the business. You know what I'm saying? And so just get the likes up so you can help me, at least push the message out to anybody that's interested on getting into the IT field. But shout out to Valencia Ross. Good to see you. And Phil, I see you, the IT Jedi, in the chat as well. Yeah,
Yeah, that was me. That was earlier.
yeah,
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 that was
yeah,
me. No, I'm
yeah.
gonna stay out of the chats though, because I know how distracting that can be.
Yeah, I know, and it's hard, man. I'm always trying to um, keep the conversation flowing and then paying attention to the chat and it's just all over the place. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Tech. He says, I find your channel from YouTube search. Your content and DistroTube is awesome. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it, man. DistroTube is a great channel as well, pushing the Linux content, which is what I'm heavily involved in on my pre-recorded videos. So I appreciate you coming through, man. And in auto, yeah, I don't know what that means, but salute to you, Julius Mitchell. I'm ready to be enlightened. Yeah, I'm
That's my
glad
boy
you're here, man.
Julius.
Yeah, good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Amy Willer, good to see you as well. I definitely
Yep,
appreciate it.
that's
Um,
my homie Amy. She's an up and coming security Jedi.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so first thing I like to do is open it up by allowing you to introduce yourself as well as give a little bit about your background.
Okay, cool. So my name is Philip, and I been working in IT for about 11 years now. And I live in the southwest suburbs outside of Chicago. I live, have married for about 13 years. We have two young boys, two young rambunctious boys, um, 11 and no, I'm sorry, excuse me, because he's probably watching the stream, so I better correct myself. 12 and 8. Shout out to
Cool.
Benjamin and Tyler, in case they're watching. Um, and yeah, my mother-in-law lives with us. We're one big happy family, man. I'm just an IT geek who just loves what I do. I've been doing it for like 11, 12 years now. But I've been in corporate America for about 21 years.
Okay.
So really, the I got my start. I started out my career just working in corporate, pretty much. You know, um, and did a lot of operational roles and stuff like that for like for that first half of my career. A lot
Hmm.
of those traditional operational roles, but a lot of that stuff kind of started changing because of technology. So you know I saw the writing on the wall at that point. So um, I, after I met my wife, I was actually in the process of getting laid off from my job.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, this goes into how I got into IT. So I met my wife, and I was actually in the process of getting laid off from my job.
Okay.
And And I was like, oh man, what can I do? I mean, maybe I can become an independent claims adjuster, because that's what I did for about 8 of those 10 years, was a claims adjuster.
Okay.
But it doesn't pay well. My job I had already lost my job to technology, um, where they took us from an AS400 mainframe system that we worked on, that we used, to a web-based system, and some other tools, um, that I didn't have the skill set at the time to use. So um, my wife well, she wasn't my wife yet, but she was my girlfriend. At the time, she was like, well, what do you like doing? I'm like, well, I went to school for computers. I know I sound like a complete nerd. I went to school for computers. I like working with computers. I like technology. And she was like, well, why don't you do that? And I was like, okay.
Mhm.
So it was just like that. I was just like, okay, this is a good idea. So what I did was, um, so I'm like, well, how am I going to do this? I don't have any, I don't have any actual skills. Although I did go to school for computer network engineering like 7 years prior, but
Okay.
I was young, so I just kind of just, blew that, because I was just, I was choosing a party rather than go to class. So I
Mhm.
was one of those knuckleheads. I was never really a person that was good at, like, you know, the whole school thing and that kind of structure. Um, so what I ended up doing was, um, I went to our local junior college. I enrolled in our local junior college, and I enrolled in CompTIA A plus and CompTIA Network Plus certification programs, because I was like, I'm not gonna at this point, I'm not gonna go back to college, because I already have debt, and it wasn't a
Yeah.
good experience. The school actually shut down. They were one of those for-profit colleges, and
I got caught by one of those.
yeah, they got us. They were getting a lot of military personnel too. They were,
Mhm.
oh man, they were spinning folks, and yeah, so I took the A plus in network course, and so I ended up taking the certification test, and the certification was pretty easy. So I mean, man, I was like, and we were expecting our first son, Tyler, and man, I was like, I'd be sitting there, rocking him to sleep. I'd be holding him in one hand, and I'd have, like, the A plus book in the other hand, with a bottle right here,
Mhm.
feeding him and reading. You probably did
Oh
went
yeah,
through
I
the
did
same
the
thing
same
because you
thing.
guys are young. Yeah. So it was that, and it was funny. I got laid off. So I'm like, wow, what am I gonna do now? I'm like, okay, so the thing that kept my spirits up and kept me keep going was the fact that my wife, girlfriend at the time, who's not my wife, she's very supportive and helped push me. And on top of that, that I was actually doing something. It's all about having a plan and doing something, And people don't realize that, like, some people get down on themselves, and they just become they feel defeated. So the fact that I was actually doing something made me feel good. So that kept me going. It kept my spirits up. And I was even, like, in the unemployment line. I was standing in the unemployment line, and I had my A plus book, and I was just sitting there in the unemployment line just studying, you know, and studying. I took the test, passed the certification. Man, I was so happy. So the way I get my foot in the door, and this is one of the things that I kind of like mentor other people on, is the way to get your foot in the door is, start networking with people, start building relationships with people, because that's gold right there. So I'm in the Chicago market. The Chicago market is hot for IT. Even when the economy was bad, Chicago market's always been hot for IT. So I started contacting a bunch of recruiters, Tech Systems, Robert Half,
Mhm.
and
I've worked
Infinity
for
Consulting. Yeah, those companies. Yeah,
him.
and so, so what I did was, I contacted them, and I'm like, hey, can I speak to someone can I speak to a recruiter in charge? Those are my words. Can I speak to a recruiter in charge of staffing desktop support or entry level positions? And they put me in contact with this guy, and he took a chance on me. I didn't have any experience. Gave me my first gig. My first gig was, I think it was like $16 an hour or something like that.
Okay.
And basically what I was doing was, there was this bank in Chicago. I forget the name of the bank. It was Park National Bank, but they were purchased by US Bank. So
Mhm.
since they were purchased, they were getting rid of all their old equipment. So they hired me and a couple other folks to go in there and just pull out all the
Strip
older
it down.
computers, strip
Yeah.
them down. And I was just happy. I was happy. I'm like, I know this is the start right here.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I got into IT, and then it just pretty much took off from there. We can go in more detail on that too, but
Okay.
I
Nah,
don't want to
it's
monopolize the.
you good. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, but you brought up something like very interesting. You know, I always like to talk to folks that started off in a different career and then transition over into IT. You know, from
Yeah.
something totally different. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And that
Yeah.
that whole process. Can you expand a little bit more on how hard it was to adjust? Or I know you hit on it a little bit, but
Mhm.
yeah, any more?
Well, it wasn't too difficult, but there
Okay,
was something. There's something in it though. It wasn't too difficult because I've been working in corporate America since I was like 18, 19 years old.
okay,
So that's pretty much all I've known. I did one job one time working in I think it was one of those dollar store factories where you unload the trucks, and you see
okay.
these little skinny fingers. Those fingers are not made for real labor. These fingers are made for like digging through Ethernet cables or
Yeah.
typing on the keyboard. So yeah, that didn't last very long, and I'm like, man, I want to do something that's a little bit more creative. But
Mhm.
yeah, so the transition wasn't hard in the sense that I was used to work being in the business environment. Um, the thing that was difficult that I ran into were
Oh
the
yeah.
personalities in IT versus the personalities in, your typical operational corporate roles,
Mhm.
things of that nature. So, no shade to folks who work at Best Buy, but that's kind of where a lot of people started out. So when I ended up getting into IT, I was working alongside a lot of folks who really hadn't developed a lot of soft skills when it
Mhm.
comes to dealing with our customer base, which is our internal users or
Mhm.
each other in some cases. So, there was always those folks that who you just wanted to go upside their head, you
Yeah.
know. But that was really the only difficult adjustment. But over time, once you really get to see like how people operate
Mhm.
and you just kind of make those adjustments and stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's
I kind of agree with you, man, because I've
yeah,
experienced that as well. It's totally different. Working with IT folks,
yeah,
it's a different
snarky,
breed. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
snarky, arrogant, smart asses.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm older now. I'm 43, so I have like very low tolerance for that. So sometimes I just have to like just step back and like okay, or then just just cut them down. I just have to
Mhm.
cut them down a little bit. They get the
Yeah.
picture though.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well,
luckily for oh, go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, well, luckily for me, I did desktop support and stuff for a couple years, and that's a very great place to start.
Mhm.
But after a couple years, I noticed I started to become kind of jaded, and if that's the right word, and not really, and just when I would see people, I'd be like, ugh, like, the person would come out, I'd just be like, oh my god, what does this person want? You have the walk ups, or you have someone who you run into in the break room, and they're like, hey, how you doing? Good morning, and you think they legitimately care about how you doing and good morning. And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing good." And then it would go, "Yeah, so anyway, I'm having a problem with," and I'm just like,
Yeah, they don't even acknowledge what you said, or
"Nope."
they didn't even hear what you said. You could have said, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not doing too well today," but anyway, I gotta.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a little naive sometimes too. My wife
Hmm.
would tell you I'm slow sometimes. I'm a little naive sometimes where stuff will fly over my head. That's why
Hmm.
a lot of times when I'm doing a deal with something, I'll have to call her and I'm like, "Hey, could you?" I'm like, "You have better social awareness than me." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so but let me shout out a couple more people that's coming through. I definitely appreciate you guys. Today I have Phil. He's in the building today. We talking, having our little tech talk or whatever. I appreciate all you guys being here. I seen a couple people pop in. Maurice T, good to see you. Um, Blind guy, his wife, he says ITT Tech is for-profit schools that went out of commission here. Yeah, yeah. But I get what you're saying. Cause yeah, I went to Remington and it was the same way as for profit. They're just trying to, it's almost like what when you walk into the building, it's almost like running into, or walking on a core lot. You know what I'm saying? They
Yep.
trying to
Yep.
sell you that degree or certificate that they trying to get you.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, what can I do to put you in debt for the rest of your life
Yeah.
today
Yeah.
and get that
Exactly.
commission?
Exactly, exactly. And Professor Black Ops, shout out to you. I seen yeah, your super chat. Definitely appreciate it. Says keep it techie, another great interview leading the way. I appreciate it, man. I definitely appreciate
Yeah,
it. Alpha Banks, he also said thanks for all the Linux content. Josh, much appreciated. Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I'm just trying to do what I can to, put information out here to try to help people, man. I definitely appreciate you coming through. Greg O. Um, who else? I seen somebody else. Oh, and somebody said basically shout out to your wife. She a real one because I wanted to say the exact same thing when you were saying that earlier. It's like yeah, your wife,
yeah,
yeah, she had your back. You know what I'm saying? And my wife, I was fortunate enough to have the same thing. My wife had my back going through, school and trying to get into
yeah.
the IT field because um yeah, she actually went to school with me at the same place, but
Really?
dropped out of it. She realized that she really didn't want to do IT, so she went into a different program.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah. So but anyway,
yeah. My wife was studying IT for a little bit too, but
okay.
I knew she wouldn't like it because my wife don't put up with any bullshit. I'm
Mhm.
used to work since I've been in corporate America forever, so I'm used to like playing politics and playing the game and all that stuff. My wife, nah, she don't. Yeah, she'd probably go upside somebody's head, and she's from Brazil too, so I'm sure she had to learn some sort of jujitsu growing up
Mhm.
when she was in school. She's gonna kill me for saying that. Um, but yeah, blind guy, his wife, and their life facts. I know who that is. That's they were on this other show that I was watching.
Okay.
Lapeef, let's talk, the Chicago-based show. Yeah, so and we're all over, man. It's great.
Yeah.
What you're doing is great on this channel.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And oh, it was one of the person. Oh, Savage Scientist. Good to see you, man. I definitely appreciate you coming through. But so the next thing I want to ask you, um, let's see. I'm lost now.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
so
Hope it
nah,
wasn't
you
me.
fine. You fine. You fine. Okay. So um how do you keep your technology skills current? Like what is your process? Or what do you
Oh
do?
yeah, that's a good question. Very good question. So for me, and it's usually behind me, but I moved it down to our basement. I have a home lab.
Okay.
So for me, it's a combination of my home lab, and my home lab consists of, I have um, a rack that I pulled out of that was going to be thrown away when I was working at this one company, and we moved from one building to the other. They were going to throw it away, so I took it. Um, and on that, I have three. So I have just to give you an idea of my lab, I have three Dell PowerEdge T130 servers that I
Mhm.
bought from Facebook Marketplace,
Okay.
and on one of them I'm running TrueNAS,
Mhm.
which is I think the newest version of FreeNAS. I
Yeah.
haven't been able to do much of my lab lately because I've been so busy since I started my new company. Um,
Okay.
and so on the other two servers, I'm running VMware ES6i 6.7, and I'm getting ready to upgrade to 7.0. So I create projects for myself with things like this, and so the thing that helps me, in addition to having this lab, is also, doing watching a lot of YouTubers such as yourself, um, other content creators, and also I have a VMUG Advantage subscription, which gives me access to a lot of VMware software,
Mhm.
so I can use that in my lab, so I can rebuild over and over. I use another application. I use another one called the Cloud Guru, which
Okay.
is it used to be part of Linux Plus. I mean, Linux Academy. I'm sure you heard of them,
Yeah.
but now they're Cloud Guru. So that, and I do like all of my all of the re- the rest of my certs after I got the A plus and Network Plus was all self study. I didn't have to I didn't roll anything except for the VMware certification. So I got
Mhm.
the VMware VCP 6.0 certification. But in order to get a VMware certification, you have to take training at an authorized VMware training
Oh,
place, and those are
facility.
pretty
Yeah.
expensive. Yeah,
Yeah.
facility.
Yeah.
Those can be expensive, but I have a hack for that, which I'll share with you offline. And if you want to share with other folks, you can.
Okay.
Let's just say that there's an online class that you can take, and it's like I think less than $200, and then they give you a voucher for the exam.
Okay.
So I took the exam. I failed it the first time because I suck at taking tests. Because remember, I told you that I was a knucklehead in school. Yeah. Um, so yeah, that and I create projects for myself too. So I also got the SCCM certification, SCCM 2012. Have you ever heard of SCCM?
Oh no, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah,
No.
it's one of Microsoft's products. It's this is actually the product that I taught myself. Well, I actually had a mentor also that I kind of taught myself with my, and I had my mentor that took me from the desktop support side of the bank I was working at downtown
Mm-hmm.
to the systems administration side. So just to give you a little background on that, what SCCM can do is you use it for imaging systems, so you can use that with MDT to build system images and deploy them out using Pixie Boot.
Ah, so
Um,
that's like Ghost. I remember
yeah, it's like
using
Ghost.
Ghost back in the day. Okay.
It's like Ghost on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's a Swiss Army knife because you can also package applications. So you can package like .exes, .msis,
Okay.
and also you can put in the command line switch parameters and all that stuff in it. You package them and you deploy them out to computers. Um, and what else can you do with it? So yeah, Windows updates, you do patching with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's some other stuff you can do, like reporting and stuff like that on your environment. But that's mostly what I used it for, was building images and stuff like that, and patching and deploying applications. The way I was able to make that transition was I started out on a desktop support team. I was working at this bank downtown after my wife and I had moved from we moved to Tampa for about almost a year and moved back here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we were using SCCM 2007 there, and I took a liking to the product, and I'm like, wow, this is a great product, because I was doing system images in it. So 2012 was coming out, and we had a that was going to consulting company that was going to upgrade us to 2012 R2, and I asked my manager if I can shadow this person.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy took me under his wing, and he let me shadow him, and gave me resources to read, and you know he created a package, and then let me create a package, and then pretty much just gave me the keys to the castle, and then I was just going at it right there in 2007, in SCCM 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So um, so I ended up working with him on upgrading to 2012, SCCM 2012, and I did such a good job with that, and my manager saw that I showed a lot of interest in it, and then they said, hey, we want to make you, a junior systems admin, on the SCCM side, and yeah, so that's how I was actually able to transition.
Wow.
So you got to look for those opportunities to
Mm-hmm.
transition. If you want to stay in desktop support, you should try to keep, if you really like working on a desktop support side, you should really do everything to master that craft, like become hardcore at knowing desktop imaging, system imaging, and things of that nature. um, even take it a step further and learn how to do desktops in Azure, like
Mm-hmm.
the virtual desktops, or in Citrix and stuff like that too. um, and that's gonna take you far, and then, you may not necessarily have those skills like right off the bat, but like if your manager or the senior systems engineers see you wanting to learn, they're going to take
Mm-hmm.
you under their wing, because us tech guys, we love talking tech.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we love it. I don't know if this happened to you, but I started talking to my wife about something at work, and she starts getting a Forrest Whitaker eye, where she's like getting sleepy.
Yeah.
So when you find other folks who like talking tech, is like, oh yeah, I can now I
Yeah.
found someone. Yeah,
And you can
yeah,
open, I mean, I don't know. I do the same thing. I get excited about it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, especially when it's something that a lot of people don't know about, like some type of,
Oh yeah.
if you find that, and that's how I feel when I'm talking to someone that knows Linux a lot. But no,
Uh-huh.
but your story, this is one thing I wanted to say before I forget. Your story kind of reminds me of a story my dad told me,
Hmm.
how you kind of took the initiative.
Yeah.
My dad worked in chemical plants. He did that for like 30 years. And when he first got on the job, he was a contractor. And and they went in, they was training people how to be pipe fitter. And they would show them how to do it.
Right.
And instead of them or instead of I'm trying to think of how he told it to me. Basically, he took the initiative and told him to give me the damn wrench and I do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And he took that initiative and learned it. Watched the guy show them. Everybody else scared to take the leap and actually
Yep.
do the work or get out there and prove that you know how to do it. He took the initiative and actually went out there and showed him that he knew how to do this stuff, and he excelled through that whole chemical plant process working job or whatever, where he end up being a supervisor and everything, over time. So
Right.
sometimes you got to jump out there and take that initiative and actually
Yeah.
um show people that you really want to learn something, or that you're interested in giving, and by showing that initiative, and it
Yeah.
can it can actually open up doors for you. So
Yeah. You
very
got to be fearless
inspirational.
about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Very inspirational though, what you're saying
Yeah.
about that.
Thanks.
So yeah. But shout out to it was a couple other people I seen. Oh, um, Engineering Cannabis, good to see you. Julius Mitchell, good to see you. I don't know if I shot you out, but shout you out again, bro. It's all good. Black Heights, advancing your career. I definitely appreciate you coming through, man. I was on a live stream, Black Heights, about an hour ago, and he's actually putting out a lot of great information as well, trying to help people with those, soft skills, and just helping you overall advance your career, your IT career, or whatever career that you're trying to get into. Great guy. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, if you're not subscribed to him, check him out. He's always dropping gems over there on his channel. But shout out
Nice.
to you, and I definitely appreciate the super chat. He basically says, "Shout out to the great brothers. Appreciate you." Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate it. And Engineering Cannabis, I think but anyway, that's I think that's everybody. But you brought up
Engineering.
something else. Yeah, yeah, Engineering Cannabis. That's my guy right there, man. He actually does a lot with blockchain, and that's gonna be a question I was gonna ask you a little later on to see if you knew anything about it. Or we'll get to that though later.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask you, um yeah, I wanted to say, man, hey, that's one of the things I was looking through your photos, because I was trying to create the thumbnail, man. And it was funny. I saw your workstation, man. And I know you
Oh,
say it's
on
changed
Twitter.
or whatever. Yeah, on Twitter. I know you say it's changed you to move the rack downstairs, but yeah, I was definitely gonna hit on that and try to ask you, man. So labbing is one thing that you do a lot, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And I know you
lately
kind of
not
explained it.
not as much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lately not as much. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can finish your question.
No, you
Sorry.
good. You good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't been labbing as much as I wanted to, but I did get the opportunity to attend training for Azure AZ 104 certification.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big step for me, and I started at this new company about 4 months ago. About 4 months ago, and I've just been like crazy busy. Just to give you an idea, we have around 5,000 servers. It's a huge global company.
Mm-hmm.
We have about 5,000 servers, and I find myself kind of at that position where, remember how I was explaining that I went from desktop support to junior systems
Mm-hmm.
administrator years ago.
Yeah.
So I kind of find myself at that point now where Azure is going to take me from being a senior systems engineer to the cloud side,
Okay.
kind of like yeah, kind of like to the cloud side. So I'm at that next hop now.
Okay.
And yeah, so I haven't been able to lab as much as I want to. My
Mm-hmm.
point, and I really need to, because I'm starting to work. I've been tasked to implement some pretty dope technologies at the company I'm at now that I've never worked with before,
Okay.
like Nutanix HCI. And although I have a lot of experience with VMware products, now I'm working on a project where I'm working with implementing VMware NSXT for
Mm-hmm.
microsegmentation, which is an awesome product. And these are the kind of things you want to put under your tool belt,
Oh yeah.
because these are things no one can take from you. That company could shut down tomorrow, and I could probably have a job within like a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, because that's what you want to do, is have agency.
Yeah.
And especially me, a person without a degree and who was an F up, when I was in my late teens, early 20s. But yeah, I had to grow up though.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Got you.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this though. And this is a question um that I just thought of or whatever, but I wanted to ask you, were there any challenges that you face, you know, uh uh just working in the current position other than, I don't know, maybe moving to the cloud, maybe that's something. But I don't know. I'm just, it's just something I thought of. I was like, let me ask any challenges that you may
Like any challenges in terms of like the projects and stuff like
Yeah,
that, or
yeah.
oh yeah, man, where do I start?
And anything you want to speak on,
I didn't get
that you
home.
can.
I didn't get home until like 8 o'clock last night, and that's pretty normal for us sometimes, like in
Oh
this
yeah.
field. But yeah, like I said, I just started this new company about 4 months ago, and come to find out, the manager who I was reporting to,
Hmm.
he was the only person that was managing the corporate data center. So he was the manager of the team. The team is split, in different locations regionally, and wait, hang on, I lost my train of thought. I'm getting old. It can drop off just that fast.
Yeah.
I think I just started getting in my feelings when I was talking about it. That's probably why.
I know that feel.
Man, I started
Everything
getting
will just
stressed. I
go
was
out
like,
and
oh man,
you just upset. I
I was
got
like,
you.
and what happened?
Yeah.
um, so I took over the data center. And we had so in our corporate data center, we have two corporate offices, one here and one in Minnesota. So I
Hmm.
took over the data center, and I mean, it's like we have some servers. We have like some old HP ProLiant servers,
Hmm.
like I think like Gen 3 or something. I don't know, something like that. But they're old. They're
Okay.
like that beige color. You know, the ones from like the 90s.
Hmm.
Yeah, not the beige color, but like that tan color. And some really old stuff like that. So yeah, it's just dealing with stuff like that. Walking into this, so I walked into this new environment. There really isn't a whole lot of documentation. So that's something that we're trying to fix, because I'm really big on documentation.
Yeah.
Um, so when I'm working on a project, I use OneNote. OneNote is like that's my go-to for everything. I use OneNote,
Hmm.
and I use these kinds of these wider papers,
Oh
and I
yeah.
use a grid pad. So when I'm working on projects, I'm sketching and diagramming, because at some point at the end of the project, I want to create a documentation.
Hmm.
So whether that's like a diagram for like the server rack, or and all the different connections and stuff, loaded up on SharePoint or wherever we keep documentation, things
Hmm.
like that. But my the challenge that I'm dealing with here is, there's not a lot of documentation. I'm like the only person doing this, and there's a lot of other projects that are dependent on me, so they can get their deliverables. They're dependent on me. So like I'm working with the network team right now. What they're trying to do is migrate all of our like ILO and management ports the from the from our catalyst from a catalyst switch that's running to the core. And so
Hmm.
what we ended up doing, and this is pretty cool, they purchased a bunch of Cisco Nexus switches,
Oh yeah.
copper, and also the ones that use like those SFP modules. So what they did was they stacked two on top of each server rack. So I've been working on a project with them where we're migrating, moving the connections from the core switch to the top of rack switch. And just imagine, I'm just some dude that just walked in off the street, who does have tech skills, but I don't know the environment. So they're like, things are like going fast like this. It's
Hmm.
going real fast. You know, it's like, okay, because we split everything up in waves. Like wave one, we're gonna move ILO. Wave two, we're gonna move redundant connections. Wave three, we're gonna move DMZ connections, or think, just to give you an example. And
Hmm.
at the same time, I'm doing this. I'm trying to figure out what the hell these things, what the hell they're using these for. Are these servers even still being used anymore? All those questions that come up. So I'm pretty OCD with planning, and
Hmm.
it's been frustrating with me, because they're just kind of like moving like this, because some of these folks, they've been there like 10, 20, 30 years. They've been there forever, so they know like the back of their hands.
Hmm.
But I like that challenge in a way also, because when you put in those situations, it allows you to learn the environment.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I don't think it's the most efficient way,
Hmm.
but I have no control over it. I said I took the offer. I have the job, so you know,
Gotta roll with
got to
it.
roll with it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And oh man, I'm glad you brought up documentation. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I'm real big on too.
Yeah.
Because I think this is something I got from the military. But we would always cross train, in every job that we were in. You always want to have a backup or
Yeah.
someone that could take over in case, because if you think about it, it's a dangerous profession. So
Oh
people
yeah.
people
Yeah.
die, you know what I'm saying? And so if there's no documentation on what this person was actually doing, before that happened, or hurt their leg or whatever, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, then um somebody's gonna have to recreate something or come up with something to continue, with the mission. Because at the end of the day, the mission is what they're trying to do. And if it's no, I don't know, the documentation of what a person was actually doing to accomplish their piece in the puzzle,
Hmm.
then you know what I'm saying, someone's gonna have to figure it out. So
Exactly. Yeah.
documentation is very important when it comes to, and as well as code and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Repositories and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It makes the difference between like spinning your wheels trying to reverse engineer something or just knowing where to go for the info, like right away.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because I've had to do a lot of that, the reverse engineering part, which is fine.
Yeah.
But
It
at the
teaches
same time.
you, but yeah,
Yep.
it, if you want somebody to quickly, hop in and start rolling with something, or continue with some type of code or application, you need to document it.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
otherwise they're gonna have to try to they're gonna it's gonna take a while for them to actually figure out what you were actually trying to accomplish. And
Yeah.
a lot of times it gets to the point where, okay, I don't know what this person was trying to do, so I'm gonna just start over. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
So yeah, it
Same
gets
thing
into
with it.
those stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if they had some documentation and it's
Mm-hmm.
not updated, and what they intended on doing, they changed it at some point
Yeah.
during the whole thing and didn't update the documentation. Yeah, those kind of things. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do have another challenge that I can tell you about.
Okay,
This is
go
the
for
one.
it.
This is the one that hurts my soul. So, man, so I did a lot of traveling when I working in IT and stuff. So a couple years ago, I was working at this company, and I was the only senior administrator there. There was no
Mm-hmm.
other systems administrators. We had like 21 global sites, but at each site was like smart hands, like either a desktop support person, because they were smaller manufacturing facilities, or it would be like the office manager who I would have change tapes, things like that. But I
Mm-hmm.
worked at the corporate office, so I did a lot of projects overseas. I spent a lot of time in China, Denmark, Sweden, Czech Republic, those places.
Mm-hmm.
And I had we had when I was working at this company, we had purchased this company in whose headquarters was in this little town called Krisgard, Denmark, right outside of Copenhagen.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there. So this was a mess. I went there the first time to do a site survey, and the Denmark site looked good. They had a server room, had air conditioning and everything. So their other plant they had was in the Czech Republic,
Mm-hmm.
and so then I flew to the Czech Republic after being in Denmark for a couple of weeks. I flew to the Czech Republic to do a site survey on their server room there. Their server room, and I kid you not, it was like the size of like a small, like I don't know, like in your barracks, I don't know if you had like once you left boot camp and went to your MOS, your
Mm-hmm.
your kind of like college dorm size.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like that, and there was no air conditioning in it. They had two IBM servers running. I walk in there and it's just instantly. It felt like I was like in the South, like in Florida. Well, just yeah, you're in Louisiana, right?
Nah, I'm in Vegas, but I know what you
Oh,
mean.
you're.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
grew up in Louisiana though.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I know
Yeah. Oh man,
exactly.
you're in Vegas. You need to fly me out there for a one-on-one interview.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So I get there. There was no air conditioning there, um, or or anything like. There were cables everywhere. So I said I. So what I was supposed to be doing was, I had ordered two Dell PowerEdge servers,
Hmm.
and I had reprovisioned. repurposed, not repurposed, but refurbished one of our Dell EqualLogic SANs, and and I was going to use it to build the our standard build for an IDF, MDF, or server closet or whatever. But I said no, we can't do this because there's no air conditioning in here. I'm not going to put my name on this, and set up all this equipment, and then it's going to like overheat in here, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I said, you guys have to put an air conditioner in here. So they put one of those. I don't know if you've ever been to Europe, but they have like those wall mounted, or even South America, those wall mounted air conditioners.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So came back home to the States, then went back and I said, oh, by the way, you guys need to order a server rack also. So they ordered a server rack and I get there and I had the flu. I was just like, I had the flu. I was in Heathrow Airport. I remember in Heathrow Airport, I was just shivering, just sick as hell. But I'm like, well, I got to keep going. So I just popped, Advil and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get there and they had the rack there, but it wasn't put together. And I'm under the impression they were going to put it together for me. So I look at the instruction and it's in Czech. And I'm like, I don't speak Czech. How am I supposed to do this? So it was the most bootleg instructions too. You know, I ended up putting it together, but it took me like almost a week because every now and then I had to someone would walk by and be like, hey, could you read this part for me? Or,
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to kind of like use my imagination to figure it out on my own. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even it looked like something they got from a flea market too. It was very flimsy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was not a good situation. So when I get back, I had to talk with my director. I'm like, you need to open up the budget for if we're gonna, this is a merger acquisition. We're a publicly traded company. You gotta open up the budget to invest more in IT because he was like super cheap. He did not want to spend. He was one of those people that didn't really see the value in IT because he was a numbers guy. He didn't have a background, an IT background. He came from finance.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, I know how that go, man. The people that don't really understand IT and um don't see the value until they get hacked.
yep.
Then that's when
And then,
they change their mind about it. But let me give a couple shout outs right fast. Javon
yeah, for
Thompson,
sure.
good to see you, man. Thanks for the $10 super chat. Definitely appreciate it. Says thanks. Thank you, brothers, for speaking knowledge. I definitely appreciate it. And Kev Tech in the building. I forgot to shout you out, man. I definitely appreciate you coming through. You know what I'm saying? He has a great channel as well,
Yep.
helping people get into the IT field. So definitely check out his channel if you're not subscribed to him. Subscribe to him. He's definitely on it. As well as I'm gonna get to your question, Callie Grails. I got that. I copied it and threw it over to my list of questions I'm gonna ask at the end of the stream. So appreciate it. And then also Professor Black Ops probably answered it in the chat as well. But I'll get uh I'll get Phil's uh answer as well later on. But it was something else. Oh, thanks for the $5 super chat. Savage Scientist, I definitely appreciate it. Says help desk equal basic training for jobs, and that's true.
Yep.
That he's basically answering your question, Callie. And just to ask that question, I'll ask it now. But it's basically do you recommend IT help desk for a first job? He's currently in my junior year for MSI. So if you want to answer it, I mean, but Savage Scientist just answered it. But if you want to give some take, you can as well.
Yeah. Who, me?
Yeah, if you want to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
Nah.
No, yeah, definitely. I believe that, starting on a desktop, starting in help desk is like that. I think everyone should really start on the help desk because it really gives you that foundation into, not just the troubleshooting part of working in the technology, but also developing people skills
Yeah.
because you're essentially, internal your internal customer service, so
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna learn some really good people skills, some good soft skills. And if you have a good manager, they're gonna put you through training for, like ITIL, things like that. And or Scrum. I know, I
Mm-hmm.
think Scrum is probably something you probably do later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it kind of to me it don't really work for help desk or sustainment type work. It just it to me the whole process of Scrum. Well, I mean, the whole what do you call it? What is it called?
The whole
Um trying to think of what it's called. The agile, scaled agile framework. That
okay.
whole framework is it's kind of it seems like it's more designed for people that's pushing out applications. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
gotcha.
And it doesn't really work well with people that are just sustaining what's there. It's for people that's building new application based on my experience because I mean I went through the training. I had to go,
Oh, nice.
go through the training and
Yeah.
it don't really work with my position because a lot of my position is sustainment work.
Uh-huh.
I'm just sustaining a lot of SQL databases, SQL servers,
Yeah.
and just keeping them going as well as patching and all that stuff. So it seems like it was that type of stuff. I'm not developing any applications, so it
Yeah.
works well with that. You see what I'm saying? I
Right,
don't know
right,
if that
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
No, it does, but I don't have a whole lot of experience with Scrum, but
Okay.
at the company I'm at right now, I guess
Hmm.
our director is like she's like certified Scrum. I don't know what the levels are.
Master.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so she uses a lot of the jargon in the meetings and she's trying to implement some of the methodologies
Yeah.
within our team and stuff. So I was interested. I'm like, I want because I have the ITIL certification
Hmm.
and I was forced to get that by the person who was my manager when I was on the help desk. I'm like, no, I was like that kid. I was like, no, I want to do the fun stuff. I want to do a Cisco certification. He was like, no, I really want you guys to get the ITIL certification. So I
Hmm.
did it kicking and screaming, and that opened up a lot of doors for me. So yeah, I'm glad that he
Hmm.
twisted my arm into doing that.
Yeah, and a lot of companies are looking for that Scrum training or that that type of training. They're trying to
Yeah, the
incorporate
ITIL
that
and stuff.
framework. Yeah, into a lot of positions. So it is something to look into and get your hands on if you getting into the field because it's you gonna run into it some way or
Yeah.
another. Yeah, but quick question. This is one of I guess my most controversial questions that I typically ask. Degrees, and I kind of already know where you gonna go probably, but degrees, certifications, or both. What are your thoughts?
Certifications. No. Well, so okay, so let me back up. So let me see here. How do I answer this? Um, because I looking at my experience, what got me in the door, what got me surpassing six figures with no degree, barely graduated high school, like
Hmm.
barely. I was a knucklehead. I was raised by a single mom, and she worked all the time. She was a beautician, so she ran her own beauty salon in her house. So I ran the streets. I was a bad student. I barely graduated high school.
Hmm.
I became successful um, and got to where I am just with certifications alone and just developing, soft skills, people skills, and stuff like that. But I don't say, I wouldn't tell people not to get a degree. If someone
Hmm.
wants to get a degree, but don't go getting into debt. Don't go get into like crazy debt for no degree. I mean, if you're going to get a degree, if you're going to go to school, you want to get like a CIS degree or something like that, do that, but also make sure you take like maybe some international business classes or like um there was some other ones, or foreign language. Learn some
Hmm.
foreign languages also because the world is becoming smaller.
Oh yeah.
So if you're going to be in IT, if you're going to school to be like a coder or something, learn a foreign language because that's even going to help with you learning like whatever programming language you're learning because you're going to have that way of that openness in your mind for thinking.
Hmm.
So if you want to get, so I would say if you want to get a degree, get a degree. If you don't want to get in debt, or if you're a knucklehead like me, and you can still if you focus on like those high level industry standard certifications, you're still gonna make good money because I make damn good money.
Yeah.
Not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just trying to like give people hope,
Hmm.
not false hope because I'm no unicorn. There's nothing unique about me other than the fact that what pushed me was my wife and the fact that I was had a kid coming on the way, and I luckily got into doing something that I love doing,
Hmm.
and yeah. So if you want, just focus on the certifications, but you got to keep those certifications up. You gotta keep building your network of people and you've also got to like lab every day
Yep. Yep.
as
Yep.
much as possible. Yep,
Yep.
and
Shout
you'll
out.
you'll be good.
Yeah. Shout out to the one Lightfoot. That's what he,
Yep, Mr.
always
Lightfoot. Yeah,
talk about. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Lab every day, and that's something that I try to do as much as I can. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's some application that has nothing to do with my job. I mean, it's
yeah.
still a skill that you're learning, and that was something else I wanted to I guess say earlier when you was bringing this up. You brought up how you was able to acquire some equipment from companies
Oh
that
yeah.
you know. I know it's kind of hard now, being that a lot of companies are going to the cloud, but there
Hmm.
is a lot of cheap equipment out there to that you could bring home and set up or whatever, and test out software on
Yep.
the type of hardware that you'll be working with, once you get into those positions. So it may be older, but a lot of it doesn't change as much, um,
Right.
that frequently, to where you won't be that far behind on the equipment that you get, at a cheaper price. So you always want to, look for those deals and try to get that equipment and set it.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I did. That's what
Yeah.
I did. Like my first server that I got was a Lenovo TD230 server. It
Mm-hmm.
was brand new. I got it. So you gotta use your resources. You gotta learn how to finesse people.
Yeah.
I don't know if it sounds bad or not, but I don't think it's bad because everyone's like, doing what they gotta do. You
Yeah.
gotta learn how to like use your resources.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was we worked with this vendor. They're kind of like a CDW, but they were a smaller company.
Yeah.
And I told the guy, this is what I told him, like, hey, you know what? Um, I have a project going on here at work, but I don't really know a whole lot about it. I need to get some hands on. And I was like, yeah, and I'm going to be kind of a big decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the hell I got this shit from. I was like, I'm going to be kind of a big decision maker. Um, I have a low budget, but I'd like to see if I can buy like a server from you. So he sold me one of those Lenovo TD230 servers, and I think it was over 1,000 at that time. But he was like a real
Okay.
cool guy. He was just like, yeah, we can give this to you for like 300 bucks demo price or whatever, something he
Mm-hmm.
said like that. So, things like that. And what I did with that server was I installed server at that time, I think it was server 2008 R2 or server 2012, I can't remember. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I started teaching myself SECM because you can go like on Microsoft's website and download ISOs and stuff, for the 180-day trials and whatnot. So yeah, I did that, and I started teaching myself, in conjunction with my mentor, SECM, that way. And then other stuff like go on Facebook Marketplace. I got those three servers I mentioned earlier, the Dell servers.
Mm-hmm.
They were pulled out of some bank. Um, I forgot what bank it was, but yeah, that doesn't really matter. They were pulled out of some bank. The lady's brother worked in IT,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Yeah, why don't you try to sell these?" So I bought each one of those for like, I think I paid like $110 for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought them like, I didn't buy them all at one time because my wife would start tripping.
Oh yeah, because those
Yeah,
things sound like a jet taking off when they when you pull them
exactly.
up.
Yeah, and I got some Cisco switches also in this. Talk to the different people at your job. Tell them that you want to build a home lab because you want to learn. Talk to
Mm-hmm.
the network people. Talk to the network manager, the server manager. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're about to refurbish or throw away this stuff. Here, you can have this." You just gotta so you gotta open your mouth, and
Mm-hmm.
and be, and show that you're trying to do something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, nah, I agree. Yeah, I didn't got a lot of equipment as well, man. The same way, like I was trying to learn Mac because one of the positions I worked for, they had a couple Macs on the network. They were upgrading those systems, and they had older. I don't remember. They was G whatever those they call it the cheese grater
and
Macs.
she's
Yeah. So I got one of those for free. They gave it to me. They was gonna
yeah.
either throw it away or something, or refurbish it, recycle it. They just gave it to me and told me, you can have it and learn some Mac stuff if you want to learn it. You know what I'm saying? So
See, yeah,
yeah,
that's all you got
just
to
by
do.
asking. Yep, just
It is
by
not
asking.
that hard.
It's not hard at all. But shout out
Yeah.
to a couple more super chats. Hey, you guys are showing out today. I never really asked for money like that or donations. I mean, everything that that you guys donate to the channel goes right back into the channel. You know what I'm saying? I either buy equipment or something. And actually, to be honest, I haven't even touched any of the AdSense money. That money is still sitting in the AdSense account because I'm trying to, and I talk about, well, yeah, I might as well say it. I'm working on creating an LLC for, Keep It Techie to go with, the training videos and stuff that I'm gonna start releasing pretty soon. So I want to make sure the business is set up properly, and then I want to tie, that money from my YouTube channel directly to the business. So I haven't touched any of that money. So I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. But um um
It's
I
awesome.
really don't like asking. I'm not one of these people that ask for donations. I don't like it. I just feel uncomfortable asking for it. So if you guys want to give it, go for it. But shout out to you guys. Let me give a shout out, Super Duper. I definitely appreciate it. He says, is my computercareer.com a legit school? Oh, is mycomputercareer.com a legit school to get a certification? I haven't heard of that one. I'm about to look it up now, but to me that sounds like one of those companies that have, I'm trying to think what they call them. Um that had a boot camps. That's kind of what it sounds like. Because a lot of those schools that have, or that speak on certifications, probably like a boot camp. It all depends on how you learn as a person. Some
Right.
people learn pretty fast. They'll catch on to something pretty fast and they can pass those certifications. But a lot of times in the fine print, what they say when you sign up for these um, like boot camp style courses, they want you to at least have a year or so working in whatever area the certification is going to be putting you in, at least some experience, doing at least some of the work. Because not everybody can pick up that stuff, and you'll be wasting your money, if you don't pass the certification. I know they give you extra vouchers, I guess, or you can take the test like twice or something, but you don't want to waste your money. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? By failing the exam, because the instructors move pretty fast in a lot of those boot camp courses, because they're trying to get all the information that's going to be on the test and dump it in your brain before you go take the exam. And if you don't learn that way, if you can't pick that up and learn that way, you're going to fail the test. So it all depends on how you learn.
Yeah, and also what you're trying to study too.
Hmm.
Like for those, I was just looking at their website, and you can, this is what I do. This is what I do. Save your money,
Hmm.
and if you want to take the certificate, if you want to like take the certification, I would save my money, not spend it on that. I would, like, say for example, you want to take like the Microsoft Azure certification. What you do is you go to Microsoft's website, you find the syllabus for whatever certification you want to take. Like if it's the AZ 104, for example, which is what I'm supposed to be doing,
Hmm.
you print out the syllabus, you and you uh um Microsoft has like this free tier that you can sign up for. You need a credit card. They won't charge you. Just don't go over like whatever amount that they set for you or something like that.
Hmm.
You can do something like that. That's what I do. I don't, like, if I want to do a certification, and if it's something like, if it's like DevOps or development, web development, whatever, there's like 8, 10, 15 hour tutorials,
Oh yeah.
really good tutorials on YouTube.
Yep.
You know, yeah, you don't. I would not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the only reason why people probably do stuff like that is because they feel like that it'll keep them accountable.
Yeah.
It'll keep them accountable. But why would you spend $20,000 to have someone keep you accountable? It's
Hmm.
saving that 20,000 is what should keep you accountable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Definitely. Definitely.
don't know about you. I like traveling. We just got back from Florida,
Oh yeah. You told
and
me.
yeah, we just got back from Florida, and I'd rather spend my money on that.
Hmm.
Forget that stuff. D- Uh, get the syllabus of those certifications.
Hmm.
Utilize your resources, like, keep it techie, and then the content that you're going to be coming out, because it's more real world geared,
Hmm.
stuff like that. But yeah, don't. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. I agree, man. It's a lot of great free resources out here that people can take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, just understand how you learn and retain information. And once you
Exactly.
get that, that'll tell you what route to actually take or go when you're studying up and training for these certifications. So but shout out to Blind Guy, his wife, their life. Instead of saying, oh, I think he's speaking to you. He said instead of saying you are a knucklehead, you should say you used your high school years to hone your soft skills. You mentioned you mentioned soft skills as an asset, and running the streets helps with that.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah,
random streets help my
soft
gift for
skills.
Gab. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get
I
for gas.
appreciate it, blind guy. Yep, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah, I saw them on La Pif Let's Talk.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
nice.
shout out to Kev Tech as well. I definitely appreciate it, man. He says pizza on me. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And Master Jones, he says currently running errands and listening to this great conversation. Thanks for this, and please continue to do more. Yes, I will definitely continue bringing people on, and eventually I'm gonna get around to it, but I'm gonna do a panel and try to bring a lot of these guys back, so we can have more discussions about just to try to help people. But shout out to you, Sir Obadiah. Good to see you as well. Or Cornell Niels. And sorry, man, I'm going to. I just want to make sure I recognize everybody that's in the building that's trying to
No,
or
go for it,
you
man. I
know
love this. This is awesome.
yeah. And I'm when I started this thing, I remember it was like two or three people in the chat.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm on top of the well with just 30. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all y'all, man. I
Yep.
really appreciate it.
Changing lives, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But so you brought up, and it's I'm not gonna go much further because we running up on the hour mark, and I try not to go over an hour and take up too much of your time. But it was
No,
one
whatever. I'm free.
yeah, it was
Whatever you
one.
want.
Yeah, it was one other thing I wanted to ask you about. You brought this up in the very beginning,
Mhm.
and this kind of ties back to what he was saying about soft skills. Um, Networking. How important is networking to you? As far as, and I'm not talking about computer network. I'm talking about networking with people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People networking. How important is that?
That is very, very important because you never know when you're going to need to tap those resources.
Hmm.
Like if you know that you're going to get laid off or if you know that you want to start looking for another job, like right now, I can probably think of about 15 recruiters that I know by name and which company that work at that I can call and give them heads up that, things are, going a certain direction at the company I'm working at right now. And I'm possibly looking to make a change,
Hmm.
things like that, or even people that I work with. Like you'll be surprised like how the Chicago market is big, but the community is still small. Like the company that I'm working at now, three
Hmm.
of the guys that work there, um, I used to work with at this company about 9 years ago at another company 9 years ago, and the way we ran into each other is we were all of us were in the AZ 104 training,
Hmm.
and it was like a family reunion almost because I work with these guys. It was like I think like my second or third IT job or something
Hmm.
like that. And yeah, and two of them are managers already, and one of them is they all started on the help desk, and one of them is like the head of like director of IT security and stuff. So and they separated, they went their own way and then ended up together again, and then I ended up there again, and I recognized their names and we were chatting and stuff. So yes, things like that, like building relationships with people. Like Twitter's a great resource, um LinkedIn, of course. And yeah, just reaching out to recruiters, that's important. It's important to have like that. You gotta look at it as part of your arsenal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I agree, man. I 100% agree. And I always tell people the story. Well, I haven't told it in a while, but how I got into government contracting. It was all networking. I
Right.
was deployed to Afghanistan in uniform. Just doing my job with the military. which
Man,
has
that's
nothing to
crazy.
do with the IT. Has nothing to do with IT because I didn't do IT in the military at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so when I got over there, I ran into a couple contractors that were actually doing IT work. And since, just like we was talking about, you find somebody that knows something,
Hmm.
you get excited, start talking about it. Well, I always talk to the IT guys. They all knew I worked in IT and I did that civilian side um, as my actual job outside of the military. And so um just having those conversations and networking with those people, they asked me, "Hey, what's your resume? Can you send me your resume?" So I sent it to them, and um, soon as I redeployed back to the states, I totally forgot about it. But I got a call from General Dynamics like a couple weeks after I was back home spending time with with my family and stuff, and they was like, "Hey, you want to come back to Afghanistan? We someone recommended you because you and I didn't have that great of a background as far. I mean, yeah, I worked as a network administrator, but for that position, I didn't have any background as far as analyst work
Hmm.
or working with data. And so, just off the strength of me handing my resume off to somebody, they handing it off to the supervisor, and they pushing it through the whole process and giving me a call. That's how I got into government contracting, just from
Yeah.
word of mouth and talking to people and
See, yeah.
having using those soft skills. And I wasn't even using it, or I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just happy to talk to somebody, that's in the field, and just being nice and normal, what I'm saying? And that can help you out in the future, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. That's important.
yeah, yeah, definitely,
Yeah. You
definitely.
hit the.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you hit the nail on the head right there.
For
Like
sure.
for real. Yeah. So network, like that's your currency right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep, yep. And that's why I pushed the whole LinkedIn, even though they, you know, got all their stuff hacked not that long ago.
Oh, for
But yeah,
real.
I think I mean, it was like a lot of the login information that was, well, not the login information, but personal detailed information was
Hmm.
leaked. It wasn't like passwords. I don't think it was just like, basically anything someone need to steal your identity. First name, last name, address. I think phone numbers were in there. So yeah, that was leaked
Yeah.
not that long ago. But anyway, man.
Well, I
Hey,
better check mine. Shit.
yeah, check it. check it. But cause I did a video on it a while back. I seen it, pop up on in my news feed, and I just covered it just so people be aware, you know what I'm saying? But hey man, I definitely appreciate you coming on. It was a couple
Yeah.
other questions I wanted to ask you. Um like I said, I don't want to keep you on too long, and I try not to make the streams too long as well,
Uh-huh.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so
Well, I'm free anytime, man. I
okay.
can. Yeah.
I
Anytime you want to do this again, I love it, dude. I love doing this. I see how many
yeah.
people lives you're touching and stuff with it. Because there's so many people who need this kind of content that you have, and then you have the training stuff you're working on too.
Mhm.
That's what people need to be going to. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Skip
man.
college. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. Save some money, man. Save some money.
Yeah.
But hey, man. I definitely appreciate. Oh, um, how can people contact you that are trying to, or if they need, mentorship or whatever,
Oh
you can
yeah.
offer or whatever.
Yeah, you can catch me on LinkedIn. Let me see. With LinkedIn, you can Philip Balderos on LinkedIn, or Twitter. I think Twitter is probably better. I don't go on LinkedIn too much, but Twitter. My Twitter handle is it's at
Skip
p
college. Yeah.
balderos. P B like boy, Alderos, and I have an OnlyFans also for the ladies. I'm kidding.
I thought you were serious for
You get quiet.
yeah, I was like, he threw me off. You threw me off on that.
No, no, that was
But
more to troll my wife because I know she's watching the stream too.
yeah.
That was just to troll her. Yeah.
But
I'm s
I put your Twitter in the chat as well, and I also had your Twitter in the description of the video. So anybody that's interested in connecting with Phil,
Yeah, feel free. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
hit him
I
up, hit him up.
I got
Yeah.
a couple folks who I help out, who inspire me, and I'm helping
Hmm.
them out too. Who are in the chat? Amy Wheeler, and Julius, my boy Julius.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, and shout out to everybody that came through, and oh my man, Master IT coming through at the last minute. I definitely appreciate the super chat. He says salute to the real. I definitely appreciate it, man. You doing great things over there too, man. And it's yo, man, this community is just it's just great, bro. All these people I'm meeting on either YouTube, Twitter, like what you said, Twitter, is awesome, man. I done met so many people
yeah,
on Twitter. I met
same.
you. I mean, you know that I met you on there. You know what I'm saying? Just from the
Yep,
hashtag Tech Twitter and just different people, the one Lightfoot people that I start following, just
yep.
meeting new people, man. It's great, bro. It's great,
Yeah,
man.
that's cool,
So,
man. And I'm seeing a lot of folks who I've seen, whose names I've seen floating around in videos who I've watched too. Like
hmm,
Kev Tech.
yeah,
I talked to him one time on one of his videos, and
hmm,
Master IT. I see him on LinkedIn and also YouTube. So
yeah,
yeah, they're out
yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah. So, but shout out to everybody that came through. I definitely appreciate it. Salute to you, Phil, again for coming on. You know,
Thank you, Josh.
yeah, and just having that great conversation, man, or having a conversation about tech. I definitely appreciate it. And like I said, I'm gonna bring you back on because I got some more questions I want to ask you. You know what I'm saying? And we can, have another conversation again, man. I appreciate it. Salute to everybody again, and I'm out.
All right, cool. Take
Peace.
care, brother.